All right, all right, all right. What's happening, fellas?
What's happening? How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Enjoying this cooler weather. We got some
Yeah,
nice, cool. Yeah,
I like
So
it.
describe cooler weather for
mid
Texas.
fifties, mid fifties this morning. Get up to about mid 70s today. So yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's cooler. Yeah, we're dipping into the 40s this week, and I think Thursday and Friday is going to be a high of. It's not going to get past 52, 53 degrees. So fall is officially here, but I'm going to be getting on a plane Thursday morning and heading to Las Vegas to hang out with Sheplack.
Nice.
So and their high is 99 that day and
Oh
sunny.
wow.
So I timed that one accidentally, but I'm looking forward to seeing. I know there's gonna be some honey badgers there too, and we got fast forward movement. What's up, fast forward movement?
What's up?
What's up,
Peter,
man?
everybody.
Glad to have you guys back in Facebook land.
Connected up with us.
Yeah, buddy. So we are live in the Honey Badger Nation and also fast forward. I know I didn't see there's some comments on the posts earlier. But while I'm kind of digging those up, cuz kind of give an update on the sprint and kind of the focus.
Yeah. So this sprint kind of came, to be fair, it kind of came a little bit late. Announcement was probably a week after it started, and in order for you to really like get three people, it sometimes takes a little bit longer. So I don't want anybody who's not on pace to hit that three to feel like they had a really fair shot at it, because we bring teams over and they bring over enough people, they're going to automatically qualify and stuff like that. So I think the next one that they roll out, they'll have a little bit more time to ramp up to. So if you don't hit that three and make it in that top 50, don't feel too bad about that. I think this was a little bit of an unfair shot at it. So, but yeah, it looks like it's starting to wrap up in the East, the West region and the Central region. I still think have some room, and those events are going to be fun, man. I don't know of anybody that's made that list that's not going to be at those events, and the reason for that is, especially for those of you that maybe haven't been here that long. For those of you who have been to events, you all know that the events are where that's where everything comes together. That's where you get more clarity on, again, the opportunity and how to maximize that opportunity, and what are all the different ways that people are leveraging this opportunity and making it happen, and just getting to connect up with some really cool people. But that's also a great place to bring people that you've got on the fence too. So. Very, very cool that the company is getting behind this. Again, we've done these events, the past few years just because that's what we do is events. And this is, the company get behind this is going to be a big deal for us to be able to leverage. And it takes a lot of, it's going to create some synergy, because there's a lot of great people that aren't in our group. Not that many, but there are quite a few that are not in our group, and we'll get to hang out with all those people as well, and connect with those people and get different perspectives as well. So good stuff, man. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that November 4th and 5th in Dallas.
Yeah. I think one of the things to keep in mind, we look at, what are some key metrics on your agent attraction recruiting efforts, right? I always say, how many three-way calls did you get on, but also, when now getting back to live events, how many people did you get to a live event? And in our experience, it's a ridiculous high conversion rate for people that are not a part of EXP to come to an event that end up joining EXP. I know for our mastermind events, it's like 100%.
Right.
So, just keep that in mind. If you're able to get them there, there's a tremendous chance. The probability is in your favor. They're gonna make the jump. And so you definitely want to always be thinking about getting them on a three-way call and what's the next event I can get to.
Right. And I want to hammer home that point, because the principles are the same. The principles is leverage. It is leveraging, people that are in the group that maybe have been in it longer than you, or that have maybe they've got bigger checks, maybe the case, or whatever the case may be. But it's leveraging the people that are in the group that I remember. I'll never forget. So I think it was Vincent Koo. No, it wasn't. You'll remember, John. Maybe Al, you might remember. One of you two will, hopefully. I can't remember who it was. It came up to me. No, it was Gil Ramos. Gil Ramos, who's probably close to 1,000 in his group at this point. He came to one of the events in Las Vegas, and he was super skeptical. He's been to a couple of our masterminds, kind of knew all of our stories. Then he bumps into a gentleman. He's like, so tell me about this. Tell me about this. This revenue share. Like, how long you been in the company? Tell me what it looks like for you, whatever. And so the guy is like, well, it's been working really well. I've been here, 3 years, whatever it was at the time. And, I've got, 30 something people in, my revenue share group, my front line, and, definitely doing really well as far as, the whole group and everything else. And he's like, well, no, really, tell me, like, how much you making this month. So he pulls it up on his phone, and it was in the excess of 200,000, in that month. And none other than Rob Flick is who he bumped into. And that's what kind of happens. The same thing happened to Vincent Koo, and I think it was at the same event, and we wouldn't have got a Vincent Koo to join this company, I don't think, if he hadn't come to that event. Vegas. And yeah, there was the belief. And, you're talking about making a switch from an exit to a different business model that looks more lucrative, but you got 3 offices, 300 agents, you're not going to get them all. It's a financial, absolute scary thing to do. But when you see that much evidence in the room of people that are doing extremely well, it gives you a lot of belief to go back and do the hard things that you need to do to make that shift happen, to make those difficult decisions and make it happen. And so, if it hadn't been for that event, I don't believe we'd have Vincent Koo.
I don't think we'd have Vincent. You know how cool that was? You remember, we were in the room, right? And I remember Carlos walking in and Gil, and it was like a last minute, right? And I think they made the flight just straight there, walked into the room. But afterwards we walked around the corner and we were all having a drink. And I remember everybody kind of sitting there, and it was one of those like moments, right? Where you're like, this is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And, you've got Vincent, you've got Gil, the GOAT was right there,
Yep.
holding up shop, everybody was, paying attention, listening. It was just one of those moments. And, it was just really, really cool. And as everybody kind of walked away and everybody was leaving, I remember, Gil and Vincent being able to sit down and really kind of decompress. And I think that, that it's like one of those moments and you're like, yep, that deal's done. And so it was just cool. It's just really cool to see.
Yeah. And so that and 3-way calls, I can't say enough about leveraging, get the leverage of other people. I still talk to people every single day that are trying really hard to do agent attraction, but they're struggling with objections or people not being interested, and that just tells me one thing, and that's you keep talking about EXP, and so that's it's the number one thing you can do to kill a conversation is to try to convince someone about EXP. You got to stay away from that as best you can, and invite them to an opportunity to partner with some of the top people in the industry. That's just a much better angle than trying to spew EXP all over people. So if you're running into challenges in those conversations and you happen to be going down rabbit holes talking about EXP and stock and revenue share, it is definitely probably the reason why that's not working well for you, is because it doesn't work well. Too many people think they know what it is. So make sure you're using the right leverage to get people to invite to the video, invite to the live presentation, which I'm doing currently still every single day, Monday through Friday at 1:00 Central, onebigfirelive.com, or to a live event. That is the recruiting methodology.
Hey, I have an idea. On that note, on that 3-way call note, which we can honestly say, and this is, I say this without judgment, I'm just making an observation, and we all see it, is that we all could be doing a way better job at getting people on 3-way calls. Anyone listening to this that thinks they're crushing it, I can tell you there's one person that set the bar that I'm aware of, and you might know another, but his name is Andre, and he's amazing. And I think we need to have Andre LaFountain on, because this is a guy, what just popped into my head was Caddyshack. Cinderella story, coming from nowhere.
That's classic. That's great.
It truly is, though. You know, this guy, he is a machine. I literally just got off, and I'm going to answer a question. Someone's asked about long-term nurturing with relationships that you started. Like right before I got on this, I was on the phone with Andre, and we went down everyone in my hot list, and I shot a text message to every single one of my hot list. That's the other, in addition to three-way calls for follow-ups, it's about texts. And if they're super smoking hot, it's a weekly text. And if they're a long-term nurture, maybe it's an every other week or a monthly text. But there's nobody that does it that gets me on more three-way phone calls than Andre LaFountain. The dude's a machine. He just does not sway from the process. He follows it to the T. And I don't know anyone who does it better. Maybe Dan Hillsman. And
maybe James Massey. I'm seeing him in my calendar at least 5 times a week right now. And again, that's Dan Hillsman. This is leaders creating leaders, right? So Dan Hillsman followed that process. Over 300 people in his group. It's growing at 10% a month. It's a phenomenal where that's going to go for him. And I'm super proud to be in business with him. And James Massey's doing the same thing. Over 200 and something people in his group, consistently leveraging the three-way call. It's just, and Andre's the same thing. Andre's whatever it is, over 150 people in his group, consistently leveraging the three-way call. It's just the process, right? And so I think a lot of people get caught up with there's nothing fast about this, right? You want to look at the top people in this company in terms of how many personal recruits per month they brought on. It's probably like 3, right, a month. Like it's not a big number. I don't think I've averaged more than 3. And so, you get caught up in the number of no's you're going to get. But again, I think the number of no's is going to directly attribute to the approach that you're taking as well. And if you're trying to sell people on EXP, you're going to get a lot more no's.
I'm gonna call everybody out right now and say you ain't getting no's even. Y'all aren't making enough calls and having enough conversations to get no's. You're making excuses. And what those excuses are is like, well, John Kitchens, he spoke in front of thousands of people. Well, Jake Kinder's Jake Kinder and Al's this. Look, get all that out of your mind because I can tell you right now, I don't think too many people know who Andre LaFountain is.
Right.
Their first guess would be a Vegas singer. And I can guarantee you he's not a Vegas singer. Okay. And he's not up speaking in front of thousands and thousands of people and, hailing trophies for lots of sales. Process. He's just consistent. And he does the boring shit that none of us want to do. And he does it consistently. And he does it more consistent than I do. Actually.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's impressive. So, John, would you mind just marking a note somewhere and let's see if we can get that man on either this one or an Experimenters Live if you think that's appropriate for that platform, maybe not. But I think that 100%. People they're going to get a lot of inspiration and value from hearing from these guys who are just doing it. Dan Hillsman. There is not one month, and it's the first of the month that goes by where I don't get a text message with his wealth chart checking in. He doesn't miss one. Nope. He does not miss the first of the month ever. I love it. And here's the thing: it's not hard.
The EML, so the Expert Mentors Live, John, that you did with Dan Hillsman, the most recent. Yeah. I don't know what number that is, but I Googled it and tagged somebody that I talked to Ray Diaz, and I was like, dude, you need to listen to this whole thing. Like, he breaks down the process, like 0 to 300. What did he do? And I think it's probably for anybody who's not at 300, it's the best call you could listen to. There's no doubt. I mean, John, you did a phenomenal job with the questions that you asked and pulled out all the value. Nothing got by you. It was great facilitating of that call and that conversation.
Where can everyone find that call?
Man, it's in the Honey Badger group. EML.
EML 114. If I can post a comment here.
Yeah, listen to the whole thing. I was just blown away. It was so good. It's like, I mean, if there's ever, I'm saying, like, I think a lot of people hear what we're saying or whatever, but like to hear Dan describe the process and what he's done, I just felt like it was extremely valuable.
It was really good. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He's just done a phenomenal, he's the blueprint. But what's cool, and you nailed it, was it's the ATL crew, right? It's the whole leadership, right? You look at Andre's in that circle. Dan, obviously, kind of the forefront of that circle. You got James and Ron, you got Levi, you got Morris. So you have an amazing crew, but it's the leadership, right? And they're growing together, and they're pushing each other, and they're holding each other to a high, a high level of accountability. So it's really, really awesome to see.
It's truly the best example of how to get to 1,000 agents in your downline. Get a leg that has 1,000. They're executing on that as best as I've seen. Period.
So go a little more out in front, because we had a question that didn't show up in this feed, but it was from Haley Bird, was kind of asking, I think we answered our first question, as a new agent, what should they focus on? I would say agentattractiontraining.com, go through that, listen to the call with Dan. That will help that. But she was also asking what would you do, to bubble up opportunities? Either, she knows how to work funnels, cold leads, ads, whatever. Like, what would you kind of recommend out on the front end to create those opportunities?
It kind of depends on what the goal is, I guess. But, I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, and, he kind of told me what his goal was. The person that just joined the company was underneath me and underneath somebody underneath them, and he left the company. And so he was looking for some guidance, and he wanted, his situation was he was going to be in the place he's in for 2 years, and he's going to move to another place. And so as we were just talking through it, like, I know one thing, like, the best thing that you could ever do is get the skills, right? And so, if you're going to pick up, in this guy's situation is a little bit different, so just take that up in context. But, if you're going to be trying to survive, get out of your full-time job and make, $20,000 a month in real estate, which is like one transaction where he's at basically. But, there's, that's not that difficult to do. But if you're going to pick up and move again, and you want the threat of not having loss of income, moving from one place to another, and, all the things you don't know about what's going to happen when you move, in terms of your current business and the things that you've created, the best thing you could have is the skills if you're moving to that new market again. And then you would know for sure you could do it again. And so, like, it's not about, little fancy tricks and, lead generation, this, that, and the other. It's about gaining the skill set. In my opinion, it's going after FSBO expired. Like, it's just too clear cut of a proven process to go through, get better, learn the the CHSA process, which, we saw this post the other day. I don't know if you saw it. I think, John, you might've seen it. I didn't see how if you were on top of that or not, but they made, they got beat out on the commission, by Redfin, which is, Redfin is Redfin. So they're ridiculous. I don't know their agents. I'm assuming they're all the worst of the worst, in order to take the pay that they take to go try to win a listing. The guy was like, I could have either dropped down to the, 1% and 2% offer co-broke 2%, or not take the deal, because the seller they were sold on that discount. And, you and I both, there's no way in hell that would ever happen if it was me. And it's not because of anything other than I understand the process and I have the skill set to articulate my value, and I would never discount. And they would never, ever, ever look at a Redfin agent and think that 3%, a co-broke 2% is what's in their best interest if they want to net the most amount of money. And it's being able to make that value visible and articulate that, that is the key. And so for me, like, becoming disciplined at becoming the best that you can, which means getting as many reps as you can, on, whether it's the buy side or the sell side, is where I would focus my time, because with that comes your confidence. With that comes, your skills developing. With that comes accidentally selling getting a listing or getting a buyer deal closed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
just fall in love with the process. That's to me, we've got a roadmap that's better than anything that's out there for an agent to become successful on, face to face, that process, and the tools, the listing presentation, the buyer presentation, all that. Fall in love with the process. That's what I would say. Do that and go after the lowest hanging fruit first. Low cost lead generation on the buy side. Practice articulating your value, or on the sell side, same thing. Go after FSBO's expired. It's 100% where I would focus my time, unless I knew something different about our situation.
So she's and she's really meaning more on the agent attraction side. What would you do to bubble up new opportunities there instead of on the real estate side of things? Where would you kind of start at that point?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm guessing she doesn't have very many relationships or people that she knows in the business. I would make a list of agents that she would like to mentor, and just from a true respect standpoint of seeing agents that are doing well, pull it up in the MLS, reverse engineer it, and call and pay them a compliment, and then ask for either a lunch with them, or just follow the 8-point invitation script that's in the document that's in Honey Badger Group. If you haven't seen that, you should all have seen it and be using it. But there's a way to pay a compliment to someone that's doing better than you, and ask them to help you by taking a look at what you're doing, and invite them to a live presentation. And what I'm saying, it's the same thing, right? It's you're gonna it's a numbers game. If you don't have relationships, or if you haven't made a list, it goes back to the process. So and I think we've done a probably not as good a job as we could do at answering these questions the right way every time. But the process is make a list. And if you don't have a list, the process is start back over at agentattractiontraining.com and go through the training and make the list, follow the process. Ultimately, that's going to be, if I was going to be strategic about conversations, I wouldn't go after new agents. I'd go after people that are doing better than me. And I would just say, hey, listen, I really respect what you've done in your business. I'm looking to be highly successful in this business. And I wanted to see if I could get some feedback and get your opinion on something. If I was to send you, a video to take a look at, would you, help me determine if this is the, what you would recommend that I do, in order to become successful in this market. And you follow that same script. I mean, that's the process. And that's what I would go back to, is still making that list. But if you don't know a bunch of people in real estate since you're new, then make a list of agents that you admire that are doing really well. That's where I would start, because those people typically, and the reason I say that is because their situation is typically financially going to be 100% of the time better at EXP before rev share. Before rev share for sure, possibly before stock. But for sure, if they're an icon agent, meaning they do roughly 30 or 35 transactions a year and they would hit icon, then, there's a no-brainer. Why, they're either going to get math or they don't get math. And so leverage that, invite them to a live presentation, or invite them to a video, three-way call with someone in your group to help make that conversion. That would be exactly what I would do.
Love it. Crushed it. Got a nice thank you from her. So I think definitely got her going down the right path. And I shared 2 links in there for everybody tuning in. That's the link to Mr. Hillsman's Expert Mentors live episode, and then also put the agent attraction training. Those are the two. Those are the 2 things. I mean, if you devour those 2 things, you guys are going to be off and running. Cuz you see Pam's question?
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when I read that question, I feel like that's like me before I open the gate of the mind. Why would I want to pay anybody? I think we could all, as independents, recognize our the reason why that's not interesting to us. Again, it sounds to me like this is a guy that owns his own brokerage, but he's really just stuck in production. He doesn't really have a brokerage. He's a team, and that he's not burned out yet. Potentially. For me, it's like, what's the goal? Where do you want to be in the next? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? I mean, you've got this independent brokerage, and at some point, either they're not trying to get out of production, and he's going to say, yeah, I would be selling 400 homes instead of 200 homes, and that's what he wants to do. And then I think the leverage is, well, I can show you I can show you a guy that can help you do that. They've done it before and helped a whole bunch of other people do it before. If I could get you on a call with them, would you be willing to jump on a call? So if his goal is to sell 400 homes instead of 200 homes, I'm just paraphrasing, like what, I don't know exactly what, he's not burnout, right? Yeah. He hasn't got to that point. And so if that's the path that he thinks he wants to go down, we can't convince him that he's going to get burned out. Someday he will, and he'll be way more open-minded. But if that's the path he wants to go down, then align with it and say, listen, if we could help you do that in half the time, would you be open to at least jumping on a call? If that's the goal, if that's what his vision is, if he's truly just trying to avoid the opportunity of coming to EXP, that's one thing. But if he's truly being honest and he says that he wants to grow his business and go from 2 to 400, whatever it is, I'd be curious to know what he might answer that question. Then again, it's going to be get him on a three-way call. If he already knows the business model, which it sounds like he does, and he gets on a call, I'm probably going to be able to move him a lot closer to the seeing the opportunity, not in revenue share, but just in the fact of, listen, if you want to get to, so what's it going to take? And to get to that level of business, well, it's certainly going to require him to recruit agents to be on his team, right? So that's one thing he's going to have to do. And he's either had the experience of losing his best agents or he hasn't, and either he's aware or he's unaware. And he will be aware after that conversation as we talk through it, because I'll help him get to that point of where he's going to realize that if he hasn't already at some point. Or he just doesn't see the opportunity, and we just need to show him what our rev share looks like. I mean, he cannot make more money selling houses than he could at EXP if he truly follows the model and executes from it. And so, that's something. If he made a fraction of what's possible, he would still be better off than he would be getting paid to be at EXP. That's the thing I think most people don't realize, is that if you're at least at an icon level, 30 to 35 transactions, and you're not getting paid more money than that's going into EXP, then you ain't doing it right. Like, you should all be getting paid to be at EXP. And I think most of us that are probably on this call right now are getting paid to be at EXP. There's no out. We don't have any expense at EXP. We get paid to be here. Like, you don't get paid to be independent. So, I think there's definitely a difference in the math. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts anyways. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are.
I was actually just going to say the same exact thing, but maybe just give you some dialogue that you've heard, Pam. If I could, would you? If I could get a broker that was just in the same position as you, who actually said the same exact thing that you said, why would I join and pay someone? I'm not paying anybody. Who was actually able to join EXP, and within the first year, wasn't paying them anything. In fact, he was being paid to be there in excess of what his fees are. Would you give him 30 minutes so he can show you how he did it? And I think that that's one way of getting him on the phone with Jay or me or whoever you want to get him on the phone with.
Yeah, she's trying to get him on the phone with Jay, but I think kind of breaking that down was, we can't hear it enough. Right. We need to be reminded more than we need to be told. And so hearing this over and over and over again, little distinctions, things start to stick. And, as you're having those conversations. So I think that's fantastic. And hopefully Pam will have him on the call immediately.
Tish, I have a list of single agents and teams over 100. Who would you start with? Yes. Yes. Start. Doesn't matter. Well, it does. I'd start with the teams and work my way back that way, but I would say the best thing to do is just start getting them on three-way calls, and just do it.
Yep.
Just do it and do it and do it. And some of you need to really, really do it.
I go back to
Art.
I'll go back to Gove in Cincinnati last year. Some of y'all in this room need to stop selling so many damn houses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That's the real. I remember when Gove told me, he said he had his best month he'd ever had. I can't remember how many deals it was he did, but it was a bunch of deals. And he was like, best month I ever had. He said he made like 170,000 or something like that, or 200,000 in a month. Best month I ever had. Dumbest thing I could have ever done. Dumbest thing I could have ever done. I didn't recruit one person to EXP that month. I was like, that was an aha moment, right? I was like,
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, remember he was driving right up to the listing. It was like a slam dunk $1 million deal or whatever, and he was like, "This is the dumbest waste of my time." Yeah, sometimes it just takes that, right?
Right.
That distinction, that aha. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was Gove or Gene, the Gove, what Big Poppy, Gene Frederick. One of those guys said, Dave Linegar and Gary Keller did not become billionaires by mastering the listing presentation. At one time, maybe they did, but that's not how they became wealthy.
Right.
They're not going to get wealthy that way.
Nope.
So you can make a lot of money. No doubt that.
Yes,
you
sir.
can buy yourself a boat.
You might not have the time to use it.
Nope. You don't have to buy gas for it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be sitting in that dock.
Yeah. I could go back to the number of years in real estate where I didn't go to the lake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't make it to the lake, but once or twice maybe. That boat sat there just waiting for me.
Hey, you want to hear some good news?
Absolutely.
I just pulled up a page on the Honey Badger group that I haven't seen ever because I probably just didn't look, but it's the growth. And in the last 28 days of September 1 through 28, we approved 326 new members. And that is up. That's a 5.5% raise that we've gotten. We've got a 5.5% push, and we are at 4699, almost 4,700 members here. And I'm wondering how many we have in our other our sister group.
Fast forward
movement. But what a bunch of amazing people in both of these groups.
Right.
Great idea to go in live on both of them, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
594 in their group, which I know we can help push to get there. And I know that's Kyle and Dan and Mary and that great group of leaders that they have. And so, make sure you guys are getting plugged in. And this is the best group I just can't believe it.
And if you know anybody that needs, if you're on these calls and you know somebody in our group here, in either group, Fast Forward or Honey Badger, that needs to be hearing this, tag them in the comments, please. Tag them in the comments and tag them in the reply to the training. And we do the leaders in this group that have led human beings understand one thing, and that is you're going to have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over again, just like I have to do to my boys. And it just is what it is. And so, you may have been like, I've already told them to watch that training, or I've sent that to them. Do it again. Yep. Tag them in these comments again, please. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Do their family a favor, and let's get them inspired.
It's something that Vern Harnish, JK, you do this really well with people, especially in coaching them. Have a few rules, repeat yourself a lot. Have a few rules, repeat yourself a lot. And as we built and led people, I can tell you that there's nothing more true than that. That it's not about all the things and all the things you could be doing. It's about a handful of things that you have to repeat yourself over and over and over again with people. And before it's going to ever sink in. And, I found myself on a call yesterday, or this is yesterday, maybe yesterday, the day before. But I was saying the same thing I said I want to say on the call that I had most recently, or on the video I just had been on, or whatever, or on the call I was on right before that. And it just became clear to me. It's like, you got to say it a lot. You got to continue to say, follow the process, follow the process, follow the process. Here's the process. It's invite to the webinar that's live, invite to the live video, invite to a live event. That is a 3-step process. If you want to know how to recruit 1,000 agents to EXP without ever giving a presentation, without ever talking to somebody that doesn't want to talk to you first, and without ever answering their questions, recruit, it's invite to the webinar, invite to the live video, invite to the live event, and get them on a 3-way call. I mean, the ones that watch, the ones that don't watch, keep trying to move them to watched. If they haven't watched or came to a live event, then, continue that process until they do. And then once they have, get them on a 3-way call. Don't answer their questions. If they ask you what color is the sky, you don't answer. You say, I don't know, I'm new here. Let me see if I can get one of the top guys or gals in the company to jump on a call and answer those questions for you. If I could get you on a call with one of them, would you jump on the call with me? And that's it. we don't say it enough. I still think that, like, if you're leading people, you got to continue to beat that same drum, because it's we're all hard headed and try to over entrepreneur everything.
And I mean, the real science behind that, it's 7 to 9 times somebody's got to hear something. And if you're a leader that is not saying the same thing over and over, and you're consistently saying different things, then you're not saying enough, right? It's the whole Bruce Lee, right? I don't fear the man that has 1,000 kicks that's done it one time. I fear the man that has one kick that's done it 10,000 times. And so, just like Cuz said, just a handful of rules and be comfortable. And that's hard for a lot of high personality driving entrepreneurs to be okay with repeating yourself. You want to think that you get it one time. I mean, we all have young kiddos, right? I mean,
Jesus.
They need to, do they brush their teeth and make their bed and all this stuff without you reminding them? Hell no, they don't. So the same rule applies, with our bigger kids on our teams. So it doesn't change.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, man. Q4, 2 days away.
Yep.
It's recruiting season.
Make sure you guys have game plan ready to rock and roll to finish the year strong. Q4 is the toughest quarter of the year. So many damn distractions, and especially this year. So make sure you're dialed in, know what the goal is, what's the plan, and let's go get it.
Better get that. I mean, so the group right now is growing at the fastest that we've ever grown since I can recall, in terms of percentage of growth. I mean, I'm sitting right now at 39.75. So 344 agents in the last 30 days. That's 9% plus growth rate, and that's extremely high. And what that tells me is that we're not only entering recruiting season at this point, like, this is also the largest amount of people that are actually paying attention and considering EXP as a viable solution, because of the stock and all the things that have been going so well this year. And so, the fact that we're open all these countries, our growth rate is going to continue to rise. But it's time to be having these conversations. So make sure you have that list. Make sure you're consistently every single day, 2 a day, man. That's the simple formula. It's 2 a day. Invite 2 people a day. 2 people a day. If you consistently do that, I'm doing a live presentation. If you haven't, number one, if you haven't got on the presentation, then you're not serious about EXP and you're not serious about revenue share. If you haven't been on my live presentation that I do every single day, Monday through Friday, not weekends. I have to tell people that because some people keep jumping on the weekends. But Monday through Friday, 1:00 Central, onebigfirelive.com. If you don't understand, get on that call. You will understand afterwards, because I bring the wood, I bring the fire on that. If you listen to that and you're not somewhat curious or excited about EXP, you ain't got a pulse. So bring them to that every single day. You have a place to invite someone to, or the next day, right? You can find people, if you have conversations, that'll jump on there. So invite them, bring them on there, and let me help you bring them over. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you got the leaders pushing that, right? You mean Kyle posted in their group, like, if you guys have not jumped on this call with Jay, you like, get on that damn call, right? For yourself, and invite others. So yeah, 1:00.
Yeah, get your people. I mean, that's leadership, man. I appreciate. First of all, what Kyle has done with this group and making sure that we're in both groups, the fast forward movement. It's real easy to let ego get in the way and say, yeah, you know what, we'll just do our thing and we'll work our people, and we'll invite them to this or that and the other. But it's like, Brent Gove is doing an event in Cabo, and I personally sent, first of all, if you're sending text messages, if you're a leader in this group or you're leading a bunch of people, I use the app Reach. Thank you, Dan Hilsman, for that. But I'm getting text messages from Brent Gove, and he said, listen, I can block 20 rooms for you in your leadership group. And I said, that's it? He said, yeah, we're sold out already. So half of it, we didn't do a good job of probably promoting it in the first place, but they were sold out. A lot of you already have tickets and are going to be there. But I sent the text message to 50 something, the top 50 or so people that are in our group, leading people based on our top 200. I hit as many of them as I could that I have cell phone numbers for. And I put them in this reach app. I typed up the message, copied and pasted what Brent sent me and said, go get your tickets. And within literally 10 minutes, those 20 tickets were gone. And I was on the phone with James going, hey man, I need more tickets. We got more people that want to come. And so but getting people to events, the fact that, that Kyle's saying, hey, leverage this every single day that you have an opportunity, that's pushing your ego aside and trying to just help your group grow. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. Don't try to corral your people. Get them involved in everything. Get them involved in whatever Brent's doing. Get them involved in what we're doing. Get them involved somehow. Just help your people to get plugged into the things that are going on. And what will happen is, not all of them, but a handful of them are going to catch, and they're going to be like, I get it now. Okay, I just got a check for $1,000. I didn't do anything for that. I like that kind of money. I want more of it. And they'll start plugging in. They'll get into the training. They'll start becoming a leader for you. And that's what you have to do if you want to grow.
Great point.
Love it. Albie, anything to kind of add as we're winding down?
No, not really. I mean, I think we covered it all, and we're just going to go back to what we've been saying: leverage. Don't get down on because maybe you've hit a dry spell, or maybe that you should have been doing more and you weren't doing it. Forget all about that. The success ain't gonna be found looking backwards in the rearview mirror. It's looking right now. What are you gonna do now? Jay's gonna be on a live in an hour and 15 minutes, not even an hour and now 13 minutes. He's gonna be doing One Big Fire Live in an hour and 15 minutes. Are you gonna invite one person to it? Yes or no? If you're not, there's nothing we can do to help you. We still love you, and there's no judgment. But come on. You're either going to, make it happen or make an excuse, your choice. And we all can make excuses. And we all have.
Yep.
So now it's time to rise up. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right, guys.
Whatever we can do to help, guys. We're here to help.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you need anything, hit us up, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.